Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Yes, it's another early morning. It's 3:42 in the morning. Went to bed early last night and woke up. So I thought, I'll do a little bit of videos. I usually do them around 6 a.m. So let's take a look at our blood sugar, shall we? Current blood sugar is at 7.8. I haven't calibrated yet since it's a little early. Okay, corrections, the blue lines, were working quite a bit last night, but it's kept me within reason. I was in the green line. So let's take it over. 74%. Yesterday was not a stellar day. I changed my sensor, and sometimes it's not right on for the first couple, but 74%, 26% was above 10%, 74% was in range, below is 3.9. Average blood sugar is sneaking up again, it's 8.7. I expect, and hopefully today, just afternoon, it'll drop down, and I'll see if I can do a video just after lunch and see how this number changes. Today I want to talk to you a bit serious. Let's just modify this. I want to talk to you about diabetic seizures and what do they mean if they happen to you. Stay tuned. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Just like at the beginning of this video, I am not a doctor. I don't claim to be a doctor. A lot of what I talk about on this channel is my experiences. And I went through my life as a type 1 diabetic, and I went through an era of diabetic seizures. And what first started off as something simple progressed when I had a severe low, and I think a lot of times it was clued in by how quickly my blood sugars dropped. I started to twitch. That progressed to where if I went low and it came down really quickly, to where I would get numb in the hand. So you get numb in the hand. Well, that would tell me I was in for a rough next 8 hours. I'd have a migraine headache and I'd end up vomiting. And I knew if I vomited 3 times, it would be over. But while this was going on, having headaches, I could start twitching. And you can, how do I put this nicely, lose control of a lot of things. Which, that was always a clue my doctor had said. If you kind of soil yourself, you probably had a seizure. If you take a look online and type in YouTube, and I think it's still up, I don't, but if you click diabetic seizures, you will see how they affect people. After a diabetic seizure, you are zonked. you are totally out of it. But yet, people don't even know they're happening. And yet, the aftermath. For me, they came on, and it was awesome. Not. They're no fun. What it sort of does, or it did for me, and I don't know if this is characteristic of a diabetic seizure, was that the aftermath, it was almost like my body was forced into the fight or flight reflex, and it released all the glucose it stored, and my blood sugars would go through the roof. And of course, you need insulin to bring them down, and you can get into a vicious cycle. That's what's happened to me, or that's what happened to me. Luckily, I've grown out of them. I don't know if that's the right term, but the diabetic seizures were a part of my life. I don't want to go back. If I have a low blood sugar, that's fine. But diabetic seizures are not the way to go. A lot of times, as I said, they happen in your sleep. You don't know they're happening, but they can have a negative effect on your health. Your body going through this all the time. Luckily, I had a great endocrinologist at the time that pretty well solved the situation. But seizures are triggered by low blood sugars. And for me, it was how quickly I could have a low blood sugar. And if it kind of hovered, kind of went down slowly throughout the day, we were fine. But if my blood sugars went, that's when I had problems. I went through an era of having lows at night and would wake up to ambulances in my apartment, not the ambulance crews. Yeah, pictured little ambulances all over my apartment. The ambulance crews, I had friends that would let them in if they heard. And it was so bad. I ended up having to stay in the hospital after some of these. Luckily now, with my good friend, the pump, I'm able to see how fast I'm dropping, and it has pretty well stopped me from having diabetic seizures. It's been well over 10 years. So, 10, 20 years ago. So we've been able to control them with the technology. Now, does that mean the pump's going to solve everything for you? For me, it did, but that doesn't mean it'll work for you. A lot of places, especially if you're in the States, the pumps aren't paid for. You have to pay with your insurance, and whole bunch of other things. In Canada, for most of Canada, I believe, provincial health authorities are paying for pumps because they're seeing how well they control. There's a lot more to pumps, and I'll be doing a video shortly on handing over your control to a pump. So, how many seizures before you go see a doctor? Well, thinking back, I would say if you have one seizure, you need to go see your doctor. You need to come up with a plan that will lessen the effects. For me, when I got diabetic, hypoglycemic unawareness, that kind of ruined everything for me. And I couldn't tell when I was dropping unless just by accident I took a look at my pump and now the phone. But allowing me these devices with the sensors are allowing me to see what's going on in my body. Now, while the numbers don't match exactly with the finger pokes, they do show trends. And that's, for me, what the trigger was. And I expect for a lot of people, that's probably what the trigger is. When you start dropping and it happens quickly. It's kind of like your whole body, when you sleep, goes wild. Things were compounded worse for me because at the time I lived alone. I thought it was just an effect of having a low blood sugar. I had heard for years, lows can be difficult. You can have serious lows. My first sort of beginning of diabetic seizures, 2 times when I was in Houston, Texas. My blood sugar dropped and I couldn't get it up. And I tried everything. We kept trying to feed me and the blood sugar wouldn't go up. And then during the night, I woke up and things were all over the place. I think my body somehow said, you need food. And I tried to get up and I ended up on the floor and I woke up in the morning with a massive headache. And I thought, okay, yeah, I went low. I realized that I had gone low. Another one was I poured myself a glass of Coke, or a pop. In Texas, they call them all Coke, so. And my hand twitched, and I spilled it all over the carpet. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a seizure, but that's kind of like, hey, seizure, I'm here. You're getting very friendly with seizures, and you want to stop that as soon as possible. Don't let seizures start to control you, and they do really start to control you. You're afraid to go out. You're afraid to, well, basically go out. You have no social life. Even going to the grocery store. Now, back when this was all happening, we didn't have door-to-door grocery delivery. I had to have friends bring stuff, and it was starting to be kind of a shut-in. You didn't want to go out and have a seizure. And it was quite embarrassing for me. I had gone out to meet my dad for lunch. And I got on to the metro, or the SkyTrain here, we call it, and to go into Vancouver to meet him for lunch. When I got on the SkyTrain, my hand went numb, and I thought, oh God, no. And I hadn't had a seizure or anything for a while. And I can remember sitting there at lunch, and my head was pounding. And all I wanted to do was get home. I got back onto the SkyTrain, and I got like 3 stops away. And I was really starting to feel sick. I should have got off, gone to found the spot, and just, but let's just say I redecorated the vehicle. I didn't want to go out after that. I was petrified. But little by little, you get back out there. It probably took about a week, and then I was able to get back out. Most people didn't even know what was going on. I remember I got home, I got out of my clothes, I remember putting the washing on, and then I went and I fell asleep, and I think I slept for 3 days. And then I got up and went on my merry way again, which all diabetics do after a severe low. So, if you've experienced a seizure, contact your endo, your diabetic team. Let them know what's going on. They may have a program. They may be able to give you something for, the migraine headaches. The real aspect is trying to control your blood sugar. I think I was using shots, and I believe I could have, around the time when it was really bad, I was probably stacking insulin. And that's, you see a high number and it's not coming down fast enough. We gotta keep giving more insulin. Stick to your doctor's plan. Your doctor knows a lot more about medication. He or she will, or she or he, will be able to implement that into your life. Once we got hold of these seizures, my life as a diabetic turned around. I never want to have another seizure. If it happens, it happens. But keeping an eye on blood sugars throughout the day, and I'm not talking you sit here and you go, okay, yeah, I see it, yeah, I'm dropping fast. No. Keep casual looks. Now a lot of times they're on their phone. You can just do this with some of them, and you can see what your blood sugar is. For my type of blood sugar or type of insulin pump, I have an ongoing line here that tells me I can see where I'm going up and going down and how quickly I'm happening. Arrows up, arrows down is a wonderful invention for me. Diabetic seizures are serious. If you're having them, contact your doctor and come up with a plan. I hope this helped. Take care of yourself. There is a life after diabetic seizures. Have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.